Hello everybody and welcome to the Sony E3 special 2015 of the TheSixthAxis podcast. I'm just going to say the I like it. It makes me happy.
The TheSixthAxis
The
podcast.
TheSixthAxis. As usual, I am your host Kris Lipscomb. Joining me today is the editor-in-chief of TheSixthAxis.com, Teflon. Hello, Tef.
Teflon enters the arena.
And that's it. Everyone else is. Yeah. We're recording this at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so apparently other people have jobs.
Jobs, food to eat, that kind of thing.
Aaron just fucked off somewhere.
I was just like, no.
I asked him, he's like, nah, I could go out. I was like, oh, all right.
He's just gone to the park to feed some ducks, maybe.
Dom told me he was too busy running a pub, which I assume was his pub, not just a pub at random.
Yeah.
I assumed he wasn't just like, nah, mate, I'm running next to the two pubs over today. Got a bit bored of my one. And Half Carb is making sure that oil things don't sink.
Oil tankers smash into each other. He actually plays a video game. Oil Tanker Sim 2016.
Makes a lot more sense now. So, Sony, it was very late.
It was very late.
I was like, Ubisoft finished, and they were like, all right, Jeff Keighley came back on the YouTube. He was like, cool, we'll be back in 2 hours. I was like, wait, what? It's not at 1? Fuck. I don't know why I had it in my head it was going to be at 1 o'clock, but yeah.
It's fun with time zones, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, it started at 2 a.m. UK time. Man, that was late.
Well, it's not as bad as Bethesda, which decided to start at 3 a.m. UK time.
Yeah.
Because they were 7 in the evening.
So
and then
weird.
Somehow they managed to go for an hour and a half, I think it was. Or was it just an hour?
Freak's terrible. Time zones are the worst.
Yeah.
It was, man. Yeah, so I didn't get much done during this press conference because I was sitting there waiting for the podcast video to export from Windows Movie Maker because it just takes so long. Yeah. Windows Movie Maker is very, very slow to export things. Although it was using like 98% of my CPU, so
your computer is quite terrible.
Yeah, that's when I was like trying to type things. It was like, nope, you can wait a bit, then you can.
Was it
type.
Like trying to type a message into PS3 text chat?
Yeah, it was
whilst
like
there's a game running in the background, and the game's loading something, and so then you're doing all the button presses, and then you're hoping to God that all of these button presses are being saved.
Yeah.
And then, so that then the entire 15-word message just goes, and it springs up in front of you.
Yeah, so I fortunately I had the stream running on another machine though, so I could still be watching that. This was insane. Like,
this was an exercise in wish fulfillment.
It was just, the fact that they just came out and went, yeah, guys, The Last Guardian. That's what we're opening with. I was like, wait, that's your opener. Your opener is like one of the most wanted games of the last decade.
I think it's just because, well, obviously, like, they have all of these games and they just sort of like weigh them up. But it was interesting that, The Last Guardian was what they were opening with, and that like on the other side of the scale, you had Call of Duty, which is what they closed with. Whereas normally Call of Duty has been what Microsoft opens with, and we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, so, I mean, I think it was just nice that they basically just came out and said, look, here's The Last Guardian. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
I mean, the video that they showed of it was kind of...
incredibly tedious.
Didn't it go for like 7 minutes or something?
It was 7 minutes and fuck all happens.
Yeah, but... Yeah. So it basically just builds upon, like, the trailers that they showed, like, how many years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah.
6?
And I mean, it's fine. It was a fine trailer. You got a bit of the dog. You got a bit of the boy. The boy looks like he's cel shaded, but the rest of the world isn't.
Yeah, it's a slightly odd, incredibly oversaturated art style, which has persisted from the PS3's technical limitations, which was an extension of the PS2's technical limitations with all the fog and all of that stuff.
It's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what it did show is that, like, this big hulking beast is afraid of things because it's just an animal. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. And I also,
that was cool.
It showed a really good, it did show that it is basically his pet, because, like, he was away on the other side and it was whining for him to come back and stuff like that, which I thought that was pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, and I liked when he basically commands it to jump across this big gap, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really want to, and he's just stood at the end of the platform, and he's just jumping up and down to say, "Go on, jump,"
Yeah.
which is lovely.
But it
And
was,
also the way that it tries to catch you.
yes, is really sweet.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really nice trailer, but it could have also been like 3 minutes long, or
It
showed
could have
us,
been a lot shorter.
or
But I
just
think
showed us more.
They just needed to show that it's in gameplay and it's actually working, and like, you know, because what they've shown before has always been relatively short bits, hasn't it?
Yeah, it just kind of felt a bit like they gave it to somebody who hadn't played the game before. Because there was a lot of the boy just running around in circles and stuff. It was a bit odd.
It was just shouting constantly, going, "Hey, jump!" Except in, I'm not sure if it's Japanese or if it's some made-up language. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it was, but oh well.
Yeah, and that's out 2016.
Yeah,
not this
2016.
year.
So Tough Cub was wrong. But
Just
if we're going to talk wish fulfillment, as was, I think was leaked just before. So was it early yesterday? I'm sure it was yesterday. Final Fantasy VII remake was leaked, right? It was very recently.
in the last couple of days.
Yeah, that was like a very very recent leak. And they were like, "Yup, Final Fantasy VII, that's here." Didn't even say the fucking name in the trailer. That was the best bit of that trailer. Is it comes with the logo, but doesn't actually put any of the text overlay on it. And it's like, everyone knows, guys. I mean, they do say it when they come back into the conference, but it's just the fact it's not in the trailer because they're like, no, everyone knows what this is. It's fine.
Yeah, I think like the voiceover was focused on like the story of the game.
It was the kind of story of the game, but also they picked stuff that could be like the story of the remake. Some of the phrasing in it can apply to the actual story of the game, or like people's desire for this to be a full remake.
Oh, right, I see.
If you listen to like the way it's worded, you're like, that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah,
but I thought
they didn't actually show anything.
No, it's just a CGI trailer. But it does look exactly like Advent Children, which is what we were told to expect.
Well, you in this day and age, you wouldn't really expect anything less out of a Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh no, absolutely.
Given the power of the PS4 stuff.
But I also mean, like, stylistically, like it looks exactly like Advent Children. Like it's taking the same art cues, etc., that were in Advent Children, which is good because that was actually a good Final Fantasy film. The other one was fucking awful, but Advent Children was pretty good. And then if that wasn't enough wish fulfillment, Shenmue 3 was there.
Adam Boyes actually, after he announced this one, he came out and he pulled a little piece of paper and he jokingly said, "Right, so this,
yeah,
this."
I love Adam Boyes. Adam Boyes is actually one of the best hosts. I wish they'd let him do more because he's actually really good. He's funny and he is genuinely plays games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just does really well, and he's not as smart. I think he's very similar to Phil Spencer, actually, in that they actually give a shit about what they're doing, whereas some of the other people at these conferences do feel a bit just like, hey, I get paid a lot of money to be a CEO.
You're a marketing executive. Go on, you get out on stage.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're just Andrew Wilson. Ugh. Smarmy git. He is. You know he is as well. So Shenmue 3 was a little bit weird in that they were like, here's Shenmue 3. If you Kickstarter it, if you give us $2 million on Kickstarter, we'll fucking make it. Like you have $2 million, Sony.
Yeah.
But I mean, as people pointed out, this is just like a final proof that the desire is there for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it broke $2 million in 9 hours.
Yes, it was ludicrously fast.
Yeah,
for that game to do that. I genuinely hope that it's actually going to go and break more records on Kickstarter and stuff like that. Because
it's going to. Like, we were looking at it just before we started, and the stretch goal for that game is the biggest stretch goal is $4 million, and it's going to do that easily.
Yeah. And some of these stretch goals are just like, we'll have Spanish subtitles and a perk system.
Which feels a bit like
a skill system?
Yeah, it feels a bit like they ran out of stuff. Like, I guess we should have some Spanish. Put in Spanish, but as we are recording, it's at 2.8 $1.7 million. So that's a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of dollars. Yeah, it's going to keep going at quite a pace, I reckon.
Yeah,
and this is obviously this has got the next month.
Yeah,
to go
exactly.
As well.
Like I think it's going to slow down now that it's reached its goal, but I think it's also going to it's 100% going to break. It'd probably break $6 or $7 million without too much of a sweat, because there's just going to be people tonight who are like, "Oh shit, Shenmue 3." But my favorite story was actually a person I know who used to work in game was saying he used to work there, and this was like 7-8 years ago. They were working in game, and every 2 weeks, this girl would come in and ask them if they had if Shenmue 3 was in their coming soon list. Like she would just come back every fortnight and ask them, and I just think it's really. He was saying, I bet she's really happy today. And like, yeah, she probably is. She's probably absolutely fucking ecstatic.
Or she's been locked up in an institute.
Yeah. just moved on with her life.
Yeah.
It's like, just accepted it's never going to happen. And then they were like, no, actually, we did Shenmue 3.
She went into a fugue state and murdered 17 people because Shenmue 3 did not happen.
I think the interesting thing, though, is we got these are the big three, like big hitters that they announced, but none of these are for this holiday. Like, there's nothing taking that Uncharted 4 spot.
Yeah, I mean, Sony have already admitted, I think it was Andrew House himself, in like a financial call or something, have already admitted that 2015 is going to be a bit of a slow burner towards the end.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if you look at what they're stacking up in 2016, it's a bit mental now.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, a lot of this is just because Uncharted 4 has slipped.
Yeah, if Uncharted 4 hadn't slipped, they'd be fine.
Yeah. But on the other hand, they've had, what have they had? They've had Bloodborne at the start of this year. I can't think of anything else, but Bloodborne, a couple of other big games, which are, if not exclusives, then heavily PlayStation focused.
Yep.
And so, yeah, like the 2015 is going to be fine. It's just like they have to rely on third parties a bit more.
Yeah. Obviously, as well, if we're going to mention Uncharted 4, it was there. It capped the show off.
Yeah.
It's quite
it was an incredible demo again.
When it worked.
Yeah, but I mean, see now, I kind of think that Naughty Dog might start to make that a trademark whenever they start showing a game. Have it break so that you know that this is live.
Yeah. So fuck, it broke. Bugger.
Because I think Drake fell through the map at PlayStation Experience.
Yeah.
And this time it just
refused to move. He just sat there. Yeah. Like Sully buggered off into the crowd, and Drake was like, "Nah, I'm good."
I think that was either that the DualShock 4 didn't connect to the console.
Yeah, someone said that in Slack. Was just like, did they forget to charge their DualShock 4?
I think that was me that said that.
Yeah.
I think I snarkily tweeted, "Well, it looks like the battery's run out."
Yeah. I did feel a bit. I felt for them a little bit though. They're just like, "Oh, guys, come on." I get what you're saying. It does prove that it's live, but you're also like, we would rather just see the gameplay. Please just show us. It was pretty awesome. Like there was cars and stuff, and
it was like what I really quite liked.
It wasn't super on rails.
Yeah, well, like none of it was on rails. There is. Yeah. They did then in the description. They didn't say anything on stage. It just showed the game, but they did then post on their own website that you can now drive vehicles for the first time. And I think someone said in Slack at the time, "Oh wow, this looks super on rails," and I'm like, "No, it's not.
It's not at all. It's like the opposite.
If it was on rails, you'd be shooting stuff."
Yeah, exactly. But you're driving in, and you have
agency over the path that you take down the hill. Do you follow that truck? Do you take the left route or the right route? Do you go down the market? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like every time you're there, you have like every time you get to a junction, it looks like there's two options you can take every single time, which is pretty awesome. I imagine you are still funneled towards the end of it. Like they probably do funnel you back towards the path they want you to take. But
yeah, they all meet up at the end.
Yeah,
I think we can safely say that.
Oh yeah.
But what I was quite impressed with was the banter between Drake and Sully, between Nate and Sully, which was Sully's back in the game, which is lovely to see. Looking very old. They all look very old now. a bit too realistic, maybe. But I'm sure we'll get used to the art style.
Sure.
But yeah, the banter between the two was absolutely pitch perfect. Considering that they have to take into account, do you go down this path where you are crash barreling through a market full of people, or are you gonna jump over a verge and then head down the grassy hill, which is not the road, and just go off road, that kind of thing. And each of these moments was punctuated by a little line of dialogue back and forth between the two.
I mean, that's a really good point there, because there were bits where you weren't even on the road, where you are just completely off road, and it did that perfectly. So it's doing the ability to do that kind of stuff to show that it is real. You can just drive wherever, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just a really solid demo, and it was a little bit different than what we've seen before, and even the combat section earlier in the demo felt less corridor driven than previous games have. It felt a much more open combat scenario, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it had more of that kind of sandbox environment.
Yeah,
it's still a corridor. It's still pushing you in the right direction to go into this hotel, blah blah blah. But because you have impossible to defeat enemies right in front of you, but within that area, as you're just fighting normal guys, it's sort of okay, you're behind this box, it's going to get destroyed because it's made out of little bits of wood and lots of destructible objects are in this game. You need to keep moving, you need to shift around, you can climb up stuff and do a big jumping melee and all this stuff. It's very
it reminded me
well put together.
Reminded me a little bit of sort of Halo's combat style, where they're you have point A and point B and then a big open map in between. Go. The outside levels in Halo have always been like that. They're just obviously Halo is also known for having very corridor driven levels at points, but when you're outside, it's just, here's a big way to get across from where you are to your marker. Fucking go for it, mate. And that seems to be what they're doing in Uncharted this time, which is great, because it's just nice to give players that agency.
Yeah.
Right, other stuff. There's so much fucking stuff at this show.
Media
Molecule showed it's
Puppet Rock Band.
Yeah, Puppet Rock Band basically, but much more advanced than it was before, and it's called Dreams.
Yep. And this is, I don't know what on earth this is. I'm not sure if it's a game or if it's just a creation tool.
I think it's going to be like Little Big Planet. I think it's going to have some gameplay in there, but I think the not necessarily the primary focus, but where the most gameplay will be in creation.
Yeah.
In Little Big Planet, there is a campaign you can go through, but if you want to get the most out of it, you're going to be playing the creation mode. But this is not like Little Big Planet 3, because you do not have prefabs.
No.
You just have a tool that lets you basically mold clay. And that was fucking awesome.
Obviously they haven't explained anything about how it's actually going to work specifically, but it's using motion on the DualShock 4 to map in 3D somehow, so that you can draw the legs of a human that is sat down on a chair. That was the demo that they had on the screen. But to go from that to then having a guy playing the piano with a crow sat on the edge of the grand piano, and I don't know how on earth you're going to get to that in an even vaguely weird, manageable fashion. But this incredible demo.
The little pink teddy bear who's just smashing people in the head with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
How do you get to that? But it still looked awesome. And I was fuck the rest of the game. I want that. Give me that teddy bear game where she's fucking zombies up with a sledgehammer. That looked awesome. It looked really fun.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just it was nuts. I guess a similar vein was where you're not really quite sure what you're doing. Was No Man's Sky, where Sean Murray from Hello Games was there, despite being no, I'm not at E3. Oh, you're not.
No, it's just a hologram.
But to be fair, not being nasty to him, he generally did not look like he wanted to be on stage. He generally looked like, why am I here? Please, I just wanted to make a little indie game. But
I think.
But this was a much fuller demo of No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think it was important to show a slight a hint of what the game's about. Like he basically zoomed all the way out.
Yeah,
well, not all the way out, but he kept zooming out and out and out.
I kind of felt like
stars.
I'm pretty sure that was he zoomed out to the maximum. Like this is how far you can go, and it was nuts. Like and it was the fact that he just kept going, and you sort of heard the crowd murmuring, and then started to applaud and starting to cheer as he just kept fucking going.
Yeah,
and we were sitting there and Slack going, "Come on, this has got to end, right? He can't just scroll out infinitely." But it was genuinely crazy.
And then he picked any old star system and jumped to there. But like he and explored a little bit, and he said that there's what were they called? There's these robots, which are sort of like the bad guys. It felt like, and basically the goal of every player in the game is to get to the center of the galaxy.
Yeah, that's the he said that's the overall aim, but didn't really talk about what is stopping you.
I think just the size of it.
I guess so. I guess there's maybe like a maximum warp distance or something,
Yeah, no. So he obviously with all of the open options of the dev kit and like preview build, he could pick any star system and jump to it. But like one of the first things that he showed was just pulling out to show the solar system that you're in.
Oh yeah.
And then pulling out to show. He then did show like a map of all of the systems that you can jump to within that space. So I get the feeling that it's going to be like you have to upgrade your ship, you have to get new parts, you have to do trades, fight for components and stuff like that, maybe, so that then you have a bigger jump distance.
But there's also these. So then he went and did planet exploration, which seems to be kind of like. Oh, well, before that, we should probably mention there was a bit of space combat where he was like, "Look, you can just do space combat." Yeah, and it was just really casual about it as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and that's kind of feels like how it is in the game. It's like there's a battle over there. You can either dive in and help out, or you can just ignore it and carry on about your little adventure.
Because I kind of like that when he walked in at the start, and it just went like it said something like "There's a warning, battle in progress" or something along those lines, which is kind of neat that the system is going, don't go over there if it's a bad place. But then so then he went and jumped to this other place, which he said was a completely new place he'd never been before, and went and explored this planet, and then showed off beacons, which seem to be the way that you can claim a planet as the first person who went there or something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. Like he did say that he wanted to show more about what the game's about, but I don't think we've seen anything. I don't think we've even scratched the surface about what it is.
Well, he was also like, I would like to show you more, but I have 3 minutes. So, but then I think something we haven't seen before was he then went, by the way, everything is destructible.
Yeah, I missed that bit.
He just went, and he just like started shooting bits off a fucking rock. Like, what? So just the whole world? Like, we did everything. The entire universe. If you want to destruct it, you can. Oh. Okay.
What I want to know is how they're leveraging the Microsoft Cloud to make this happen.
And then we kind of got a hint at some of the overarching narrative of this universe, because he started fucking shit up, and then these things called Sentinels came and started shooting at him.
Sentinels,
yeah, and they seem to be like, he said they were guardians of planets to stop you exploring them.
Guardians again. They're everywhere.
Yeah. But it gives you that kind of... So I guess that's maybe adding a bit of risk-reward to things. Like,
yeah, it's sort of like how in Minecraft you've got the creepers which come after you and stuff like that. Like this is this big, huge open playground, but then at points it will like be a game, so you do have to protect yourself and you do have to do something other than just mess about. Which I think,
yeah, I think it's good that it just gives you that little bit of drive. It's nice. What else we got to talk about? Hitman.
Horizon. Okay, Hitman. Yeah, that was just basically just
CGI trailer, but it looked super cool.
Yeah.
Like
the Running Man.
Yeah, it was a super cool CGI trailer. And it was him running through the... Because I assumed when he was running through the woods that he was running for a purpose, but it was basically just him going for a jog.
Mm-hmm. And then he gets to the end of his jog and seems to just stop his heart and breathing. And then you had a little voiceover saying, "Welcome back, Agent 47."
Yeah.
Obviously in a woman's voice, because, like, not Sean Connery's.
So
or terrible Sean Connerys.
No. But yeah, so and it kind of hinted at that there's even more ways to kill people. Seemed to be one of the suggestions in that trailer.
Seems like this is just Hitman. There's no subtitle or anything, so it feels like this is a reboot, which is very much in vogue.
Jesus, so in vogue, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to have to come up with a new term for being in vogue, and then it's going to be a reboot of that particular cliche, which is going to be fantastic and not confusing in the slightest. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Hitman reboot, Agent 47, killing stuff. Digital first.
Oh, was it? I missed that.
I think that's what they said. And this was actually leaked by a pre-order going live on PSN store.
Ah, interesting. It's this year, is it?
Yes.
Wait, I can't. What date is it? November?
December 8th, I think.
It's holiday basically. It's like right at the end of holiday. Because it's late November, early December. I'm sure it's somewhere around then. So
8th of December, I was right. And
it's
$39.99, and if you pre-order it, you get a Hitman static theme, which I'm sure everyone is incredibly excited
for sure. About. Not even dynamic.
Dynamic.
Then we're gonna do. I think that's the
Horizon.
That's the only other big thing I think we've been touched on is the Activision stuff.
Yeah, and actually, this was the second game that they showed after The Last Guardian.
Yeah, wait a second. I'm just gonna come back around, and then we'll do that again, just because I was muttering. So Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a new Guerrilla game, and was right at the start of the show and looked fucking awesome. It
does, yeah. Like one of the things that was being shouted about constantly in Slack as this was happening was Zoids. It's just like Zoids. And if you don't know what Zoids are, they're basically these dinosaurs, robots, and they've got little tiny human pilots in little things. These do not have human pilots. No. They are just like robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, so basically it's set in the far-flung future where human civilization has perished because the machines rose.
Well, not perished. It's sort of gone back to tribes and stuff, because these are clearly human characters.
Oh, but I mean, like, human civilization has fallen apart. Like, they clearly state at, like, the start of it. They're like, here's this fucking statue that's overgrown and crumbled buildings, and we don't go to there. That's a bad place.
I sincerely hope that, like, the undercurrent to the storyline is that it's all the bankers' fault.
But what I kind of really hope, though, is that they don't really touch on it. Like, I don't want to know why they're in this situation. I just want to know that I'm hunting robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, and, like, just that single conceit just turns it into something so incredibly cool.
Yeah, I was talking to some people on Twitter about this, because I said it looked quite a lot like Monster Hunter. But they said it's not really, because Monster Hunter's combat is much more Dark Soulsy, like very slow pace and kind of laboured, whereas here this is very, very high speed. It's clearly guerrilla combat, like it's really amped up and fast.
Yeah, no, it's very fast paced.
You have an awesome bow and arrow.
Yeah, with lots of different kinds of attachments. So you've got like electric bow. It's basically your Hawkeye.
Yeah, I was going to say Hawkeye, but it is. It's genuinely your Hawkeye. Like you have like it looks like, I mean, even in this preview build, she had like 6 or 7 different things, from explosive to, as you say, electric, and then right at the end she had like cables for tying this big robot like down, which I thought that was neat
type thing. Yeah,
I thought that was neat.
But so like the what was quite nice about it was that it started off really quite stealthily, and basically she's hunting like kind of herbivore robots who it's obviously completely unclear what they're doing, but they're just basically roaming around the world and like hoovering up the grass and plant life, and then turning it into a green gloop for their storage units on their back. It's like, okay, that doesn't really make any sense. But basically she needed to hunt a couple of these, and then this huge, great big Dinobot, whatever I saw, showed up, and basically it was like, oh, okay, well, now I have to fight you then. And what I liked about this was that you had to know what to do in order to take it down.
Yeah, so you can't just like, it looks like different creatures have very specific different weak spots.
Yes.
You can't just go in all guns blazing, because it looks like if you go in and just shoot at it, you're going to fucking die.
Yeah, it's not a circle strafe shooter.
Which again is that's also reminding me a bit of Monster Hunter, in that you need to know how to approach these things, otherwise you're just going to get fucked up.
Yes, I mean, with this big one, it was basically the soft underbelly. That was it.
Yeah.
And so, like, at one point, you slid underneath its gaping mouth as it tries to eat you.
Yeah.
And just shot up into its belly with a thing. And I think it was also like those grappling hooks. Not grappling hooks, what am I talking about? Tethers?
Yeah.
Maybe, something like that.
Yeah, tethers it to the ground.
Yeah. Tethers it to the ground so it can't really move. And then it eventually falls over, and then you've got another shot at the soft underbelly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks very cool. I look forward to it. And this was obviously all gameplay. This wasn't. Well, I mean, there were cinematic points to it, but like it seamlessly moved into gameplay, and that was very impressive. And
it was, yeah,
absolutely gorgeous as well.
But then it was also quite a long gameplay section.
Yeah.
What else it reminded me? The other thing.
This entire battle, which lasted about 5 minutes, 6-7 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, was all gameplay, but it reminded me of the hunting sections in Assassin's Creed 3 a little bit at the beginning. We were hiding in the long grass.
Yeah, and
it gave me a little bit of that.
There was an element of the same. Was it Assassin's Creed 4? I think that was when they added in hiding in like in bushes, that kind of thing. And like, okay, so here's the thing I don't like about it, and I don't like about a lot of games where you have stealth like this. There's this big mass of plant life, and you're in the plant life, and you can move around, and it's reacting to what you're doing. But the guard or robot or whatever looking directly at you cannot see the fact that the plants are moving.
I don't, but this one did seem to detect you.
No, it didn't.
No, because she stays in there, and then he sends out like a big pulsey thing.
Well...
And then she has to kill it.
Yeah, she had to kill it, but I think that was more just because... I don't know.
Because she said that it was going to warn all the others, so she had to kill it.
So why did she move?
I don't know why she moved. She should have just stayed still. It's a bit stupid. But yeah, I guess because they wanted to show her killing the thing as part of the demo, probably.
Yeah, and there's that little line of dialogue where she says sorry.
Yeah,
which is, and it's sort
kind
of like
sweet. It kind of like living in harmony almost. But
because these are basically animals.
Yeah, they are
of
pretty
this
much.
Universe, but they're robots.
Yeah, it looked super cool.
Mm.
Like everything about it. This was probably the game I'm actually most excited for that we've seen at E3 so far. I just thought this looked really interesting, and it didn't look like other stuff. It was very this, and also the other one, Unravel, that was at EA that we'll talk about in another podcast. But both of those just because they are very different to other stuff that's out there.
Yeah, and I think this was the one game at Sony's press conference which was genuinely, completely and utterly new.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I think everything else we'd...
like even Dreams, we saw that.
We saw a little bit of that.
It was either at the PS4 unveiling announcement.
Was that something? We've definitely seen it before.
The first E3 with the PS4.
Yeah.
Even then we saw that, and it's just like, this has shown all of the immense possibilities that you have with it and stuff like that.
And then wrapping things up with the 2 Activision games.
Yeah.
So Destiny was there to announce, what was it called?
The Taken King.
The Taken King, which is basically just the new expansion.
Yeah, it looked very good, actually. That was a good trailer. There's a huge sense of scale to some of the things that they were showing. Seems like there's big new areas to explore, lots of crazy new bosses and twists on what we've seen in the main game, and obviously then you go up against Oryx, who is like this crazy big demon with giant leathery wings or something. I don't know. But yeah, all of the rumors that we had, all of the rumors and leaks that we had in the weeks before E3
from
seem
Red
to have
Bull.
been true.
Red Bull leaking it. That's where leaks now come from.
Yes.
But it was, it looked... As someone who doesn't play Destiny, I was like, oh, it looks like Destiny. All right.
Yeah, no, it's more Destiny. They've got new subclasses. They've got this new storyline. No sign of Peter Dinklage.
They also
in
did
the trailer. They had someone else who was quite dramatic.
But they did seem to have been like, oh, maybe we should have a plot.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, that is a very good thing. That's something that they've learned over the last 2 expansion packs, so it's pretty good.
And then finally, the big deal, because we talked about this, with Microsoft with Call of Duty not being there, and as we said, it's probably going to be at Sony, and it was at Sony. Black Ops was there, got a big co-op gameplay section where it's, so the story is co-opable now?
Yeah, I mean...
Is that the word?
Treyarch or Treyarch. Is it Treyarch? It must be Treyarch.
It's Treyarch.
Yeah, they're, I think, going back to World at War, they've always had 4-player co-op. Maybe. If not that, then 2-player at least.
Yeah.
This time around, it's fully 4-player co-op, and I'm not sure how that ties into the story.
But it does look like it's your squad and stuff.
Yeah, basically. And you can create your own character, and these are the little things that they've already spoken about. You can fully customize your character. You can have a female lead if you want to play as a woman, and stuff like that. So that's good. And I don't know, it's... The thing is that they've got the insane high pace of Advanced Warfare through a different means, which is augmenting of the human body and like having crazy guns instead of arms. So it's Deus Ex, like human revolution stuff. And yeah, it was a bit balmy to try and take in. Basically, the co-op demo was like they were just defending this square and fighting off enemies, and there were huge amounts of drones and things going on, and I don't know.
It was fucking mental, but it looked like a Call of Duty game.
It did. It kind of looked like a Call of Duty Horde mode, almost.
It did a bit.
Because it's 4-player co-op. And
But when I was watching it, I was like, this looks fine, but as all Call of Duty games do, if you're not playing them, it looks incredibly disjointed. Like when you're playing them, it's absolutely fine, but because you're in it. But when you're not, if you're watching someone play a Call of Duty game, boy, does it look just like disjointed, random action flashes. And they were like tanks and shit. And fucking no. Was it like
they were like walker tanks.
Yeah, walker tanks. That was it. Oh Jesus!
And stuff like that.
Fucking weird.
They also had a brief trailer of the multiplayer. I say brief. I think it was like 2 minutes.
Oh, the multiplayer actually looked awesome though.
Ludicrously fluid.
No one is going to play it like that though.
No, it was impossibly.
But it looked like. Do you know what actually really reminded me of was the early Titanfall stuff, like when they first showed Titanfall off. Because it's got lots of wall running-y kind of bits and shit like that.
Yeah, there was wall running. There were underwater bits. There was like constant changing of guns and.
They did the thing that they seem to do in lots of multiplayer trailers, where when someone gets killed, they like cut to the person that killed you.
Yep.
Which was quite neat. But yeah, it was just a bit. It was super high paced. Oh, bow and arrow was in it. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
Are we returning to
only 3 years too late?
No, I think it's coming back around because it was in Horizon as well, right? And it'll probably be in
rebooted the bow and arrow,
and it'll probably be in Tomb Raider.
Yep.
So yeah, it's Year of the Bow Part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah,
bows and arrows fucking everywhere. But yeah, I mean that actually that to me looked more interesting than the story did, and I don't play Call of Duty multiplayer.
I think they do risk the ire of the long-standing Call of Duty fan, because I know plenty of people who are just like, Advanced Warfare is too fast-paced now.
Yeah, this looked way. This actually almost looked like Counter-Strike, where sort of Counter-Strike was always quite quick as well. This looks. Actually, you know what it really does remind me of is Brink.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, in terms of
where it's really free-flowing movement.
Yeah. I mean, with Brink, it was basically you hold a free-running button and you just run at stuff and it happens. I assume that this has got like button presses to do jumps, and then you have to aim it.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be like wall running and stuff. But
yeah, the way it was shown, it looked that kind of fluidity. You're going to have a lot of skill in it in order to pull off the kind of things that they were managing in that trailer.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Someone, I think it might have been Blair, he just said, yeah, they're showing this, it looks amazing, but we all know that the people are just going to be camping and sniping out of the water.
Mm.
This is going to be sat underwater for 15 minutes at a time, just waiting for someone else to enter their lair and just snipe their head off.
Which that's reminded me of the favourite bit of the entire Sony press conference for me, which was Sean Murray doing the No Man's Sky demo being like, oh, I guess I'm underwater now.
Oh, yeah.
He just wandered off, and it was like, oh, if I kind of move backwards now underwater, look, there's some fish.
He just went, oh, I guess I'm underwater now, and he scanned a fish.
Yeah. Like, there you go. E3 fish for you. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and he called it like it was the E3 planet and stuff like that. And it was just, it
was weird. That was a brilliant demo, but it was very. I've met Sean Murray, and that is very him. It was just this really just chilled out kind of. I don't really know what's going on demo. It was brilliant. He's a really nice guy though.
Mm. Final point with Call of Duty is that whereas Microsoft and Xbox had get the DLC on this a month before everyone else deal for the last. Is it 5 or 6 years? I think it might have been since Modern Warfare 2. That's what my gut feeling is. I'm not sure. Whereas that was the deal before, now it seems that deal is basically the same, but with Sony getting everything a month in advance.
Yes, it was. And then someone asked about it. Kudo, sorry. The Microsoft guy. And he was like, it doesn't matter, it's still coming to Microsoft. I was like, I bet you weren't fucking saying that when you had the exclusivity, were you?
Yeah, but then bear in mind that 2 years ago...
Call of Duty was a much bigger deal as well.
No, I mean, 2 years ago, What's-His-Face said that backwards compatibility, if you've got backwards compatibility, it's really backwards, and now they've got backwards compatibility. Business changes. Sony, when Microsoft had the DLC deal, they would say, well, we build partnerships with other people, and now they've come in and they've grabbed Call of Duty, they've got Destiny, they don't have FIFA anymore, but Microsoft has got FIFA. Like, it's all swings and roundabouts. So basically, it's all of these partnerships going on across the industry. Everyone's doing the exact same thing and decrying when it's not going in their favour.
Yes,
or just like,
exactly. I say, well, we're not the ones who are getting it this time, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but, for the players. So, it's all about allying yourself with whoever you think is going to give you the best advantage for the amount of money that you're prepared to spend. And in this case, it's now Call of Duty on PlayStation. Yeah,
it is. Right, that's good to it. That was everything that was at Sony, everything big anyway. There's a few other little bits and pieces.
Yeah, there was an indie montage. They had... Was there an indie montage?
There was something montage, I'm sure.
There was a montage which had the solitary appearance of the PlayStation Vita.
That montage, and as with all Sony montages, seem to just go on forever.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. I think it was basically so that people behind the backstage could breathe for 15 seconds.
But it's like, here's this 4-minute long montage in the middle of the show. Okay, all right, fine.
I mean, there was a quite relentless pace to the amount of off.
They're always like that though. They're just how Sony roll. They're like, boom, here we did this next. Like, Jesus Christ, they need to be writing this up. Calm down. So it was a good show. I thought though the surprises were huge, absolutely huge,
very big surprises.
Much bigger than anyone expected.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, as these rumors were coming out, they were just like, "Oh, I really wish that would be true," but they didn't truly expect them to come to fruition.
Like,
or at least
even The Last Guardian, which was very, 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 very heavily rumored this year, even more so than it has been in previous years. People were still like, "No, surely not. No, of course not." And then they were like, "No, it is." Which go to fucking Mark Cerny sorted it out.
Yeah, but then there was the backlash. Because nobody likes Knack, so...
It's true, but he does know how to make games get released on that platform.
Yes.
Because he did make that platform.
And he released a game on that platform.
Yeah, so he knows what he's fucking doing.
Yeah, exactly. He knows what he's doing.
And also he has a ridiculous amount of experience of just making games. So, who do we prefer out of Microsoft and Sony? What are we thinking?
I think, God, I think Sony in terms of the long-term future of the platform, and Microsoft in terms of we've got a very strong 2015.
If you want to talk about 2015, Microsoft have run away with it already.
Yeah.
Like that's done. 2015 is settled. Like Microsoft have the best Christmas lineup this year.
Yeah, I think Microsoft was very, very well grounded in the sense of these are the games that you're going to be playing in the next 6 months.
And also, to be fair to Microsoft,
with a few like surprises for 2016 and stuff like that.
Yeah, but to be fair to Microsoft as well, they said we've got stuff for 2016 at Gamescom. So they've just taken a slightly different approach to how they're loading what they've got coming, which I'm fine with. I think it's a good way to do it actually, because E3 is at the right time of year to be like, here's what you're going to be playing in 6 months at Christmas, and then Gamescom's a little bit later in the year. And so you can kind of be going, and then here's what it's going to be in our longer term plans. It kind of gives you that nice split, you know. It makes it kind of very clear what you're talking about in different contexts, which is quite cool.
But I think in terms of the kind of awe that you're going to feel between the two, then it's going to be.
If you want to talk pure shock factor, it's Sony.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We didn't even mention stuff like Street Fighter was there and shit like that.
Yeah, and there's so much stuff.
Yeah. But that's going to do it. It's slightly longer than we intended it to be, but we will be going. I think next will be another podcast about something.
It'll be a Nintendo one, I think.
Either going to be Nintendo or third parties, but when is Nintendo's conference?
It's today at some point. I think it's at 5 o'clock or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so if I can get enough people together to record Nintendo, we will be doing Nintendo next. But Tef won't be on that one.
No.
I'll be here, though. I'm always here.
Well, maybe we'll scale it down further. Because we had me, you, and Aaron.
So it'll just be me just talking about Nintendo by myself.
Just you can do voices.
All it'll be is just me telling you how much I want like one of the Willy Yoshis.
Who doesn't want a Willy Yoshi?
Yeah. That'll be fucking hard to get. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get us on Twitter at TSA Podcast. You can get me on Twitter as HalPro. That's HALB Pro. You can get Teflon as Teflon. As I said, we'll be back with the Nintendo breakdown probably tomorrow at this point. But for now, say goodbye, Tef.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, and thank you to Tough Cub for the new intro sting. It's pretty awesome. Bye.